Dystopia warning. Obviously. Now, if you like short-ass, blonde English women swearing angrily at the state of the world, then you're in the right place. Because I feel a rant coming on today. Now, there's a number of things currently that are boiling my piss. Firstly, there's the view that if you're anti a bunch of racists running around putting up flags in lieu of any form of real identity of their own to intimidate people, that you're anti-working class. When all they're doing is playing to the fiddle of rich men like fucking lemmings. Because all they're doing is falling for the cartoonishly obvious con of people like Richard Tice, Nigel Farage, Rupert Lowe, that weird gnome, and don't even get me started on the Pillsbury fash boy himself, Robert Jenrick, who lives in a literal manor. And he's going around talking about other cultures failing to integrate. The real people who fail to integrate with the rest of society are the wealthy elite. They hide in their gated communities, their private members clubs, their private schools, revelling in the bought advantage of places that are completely inaccessible to the vast majority of us, like 94% of us. All whilst believing that they were born to rule over us. This is a class war, and the sooner you realise that, the sooner that everyone realises that, the sooner we will win it. In my view, I don't know what could be more working class than standing up to a bunch of multi-millionaires and billionaires who exploit us and are mind-shagging us, the poor 94%, in order to make themselves even richer. And the in that is an important point, because they live off assets and dividends and avoid tax. They have substantial property portfolios. They don't live off of wages. They don't get screwed by PAYE. And they don't need the public services that are currently in this country shagged in a ditch because they can afford to go private. They're certainly not in politics for an MP's salary, which is small fry to them. They're in it because controlling the narrative protects their power and their wealth. And they are maintaining that by manipulating poor people. Politics is a financial strategy to them. Richard Tice, with an enormous amount of inherited wealth, a man that's a property boss and donor turned politician. What about Rupert Lowe, ex-football club chair, now a Goebbels adjacent MP, hoovering up the disillusioned, pretending that they're anti-elite? Let me tell you one thing, this problem is top down, not bottom up. And the very people claiming to be the solution to the problems that they caused, well, they need a scapegoat to pull that off, don't they? People are feeling let down by the Tories because, holy fuck, they're also feeling let down by Labour because, same. So they pretend that they're different when in fact they were literally all Tories before this. Some vocally so, including Farage. But no, they're different, right? Except their whole aim is to dismantle the things that give us power and agency and the public services that we need, like, I don't know, privatising the NHS, doing away with worker protections and union rights, because those things are irritating to rich business owners who want to maintain more of their profit and want us to have no say. And I've gone through before 1,000,000 times how they sell this to people. Your mum, your uncle, your brother are all fed this bullshit via a propaganda line that would make the Nazis go, You get think tanks spewing out migrant scare stories and fake stats, and then billionaire-owned papers blasting it all across their front pages because they're trying to compete with algorithms that are 24/7, 365 propaganda machines. Outrage sells. Algorithms love the most juicy, divisive, hateful rhetoric because it makes people engage. The Sun, Murdoch, the Mail, Rothermere. They're not charities. They're also not there to inform us. They're megaphones for the rich and the powerful. And our journalism has descended to such a point where it's not even journalism anymore. It's just a party political broadcast for whoever is going to give them the most tax breaks. It's all about return on investment. It's all about deregulation. It is wholesale manipulation. Then you've got the GB news wankers. And online it's like, I don't know, Cambridge Analytica on crack, micro-targeting, engagement strategies that thrive on anger. The Cambridge Analytica scandal didn't just pop up and vanish. They learned lessons from it. And the lesson was how to do it even bigger and better. It showed how political actors hoovered data to precision target people with emotional triggers. This is all basic psychology, tapping in on people's base fears, base desires, inherent bigotry, cashing in on the racism problem that exists in Britain and has always existed in Britain, because these people wouldn't be able to be radicalised if they weren't already racist. And the research since Cambridge Analytica is clear. Content full of moral outrage spreads further and faster. It's not an accident. It's another business model. And the aforementioned upper class holes have got exceedingly deep pockets. So they don't just buy credibility, they buy data tools, coverage, studio sets, and they keep the illusion going all year round. And the polling is fucking depressing, because the people that they are targeting and manipulating, hence my boiled piss, are the people that are in precarious positions. Those that are maybe, I don't know, working 2 jobs, relying on food banks, getting rinsed by extortionate rents by landlords that are just like Farage or Low or Generic. People that might not have the time to read a full article or a 2,000-word explainer on precisely why the men that I'm mentioning are con artists. If you're doom scrolling on the bus on the way home after doing a 12-hour shift, you're more likely to pay attention to whoever hits you first with a divisive or an angry or an emotion-inducing meme or article or headline. And guess who has the budget to generate them? And there we are. Meanwhile, truth, fact checking, it's slow, laborious, nuanced. Propaganda's punchy. The truth needs paragraphs. If you're stressed and you're skint, you're more likely to fall for the obvious lie. Or worse, the scaremongering that could tip you into full-blown racism. And every single moral panic that they are selling, every culture war, is designed to stop you from fighting a class war. Because conditions are objectively shit. We're broke as a country, but why are we broke? Because of policies and campaigns and foreign interference jobs that the guys that I've mentioned were all fully behind. Brexit was a huge one. And now they're trying to get another complicated thing that the public don't fully understand. I'm knee-deep in politics and I don't necessarily understand all the nuance of it. And it's my hyper-focus and my obsession and my sexual kink to call this shit out. It takes a load of research. The next one is the ECHR. As we know, Brexit benefited our enemies and made us poorer, right? But that wasn't far enough in terms of taking away our rights to now having amplified rare instances of migrants committing crimes and sufficiently scaring the entire population into thinking not just migrants are criminals, but anyone that's not white is a criminal. They're going for the European Convention on Human Rights, obviously. The very thing that the Rwanda scheme, which made Tory donors millions, was the stepping stone for. They knew that that wouldn't succeed. They wasted extraordinary amounts of our money on it though. 700 million to be exact, on a game, because that's what these toff bastards do. And it's clever because they're cultivating outrage against judicial oversight to build a public narrative that human rights are woke or impacting our ability to take back control. When in fact all they want is unilateral sovereign authority. The political equivalent of I can do whatever the hell I want with you lot whenever I want it, and you can't stop me. Further proof that we're all essentially just a cog in their wheel and they're the ones with the hand on the lever. That's how this reverence and this class bullshit works in Britain. And stoking racism is just a way for them to deflect blame. And everyone that's falling for it is frankly a moron. If you think that these people are not the elites, I'm surprised that you can even scrawl an X in a box, frankly. Oh, don't call them stupid. Stop being stupid then. You are being conned. It's the political equivalent of replying with your life savings to a Nigerian prince via email. It helps them to consolidate power by making us think that the people that are below us on the food chain are the issue, because they're less likely to blame the people that are actually making the decisions to keep us poor. Or ask why billionaires are getting tax breaks despite their council being bankrupt. This is the biggest mind shag of them all, right? Because fear makes people vote for strong leaders who promise to be tough on the scapegoat, who convince everyone to have legitimate racist fears about said scapegoat, when in fact it was those so-called strong leaders that caused the crisis. And it erodes solidarity amongst us because it makes people that are white think that their counterparts, their fellow community members who are also working class, aren't really British, aren't really part of the community. It limits unified resistance against the real problem, against the economic exploitation, and further radicalises their own base in the same breath. It is clever, but it is enraging. The repetition of headlines work. Sound bites create easily digestible messages. Fear is powerful. Perceived threats to safety. Makes all those people putting up flags feel powerful too. Makes them feel like they're a part of something, like they're part of a brotherhood, except that's like the basic tenet of fucking radicalisation. Then there's hopelessness when life feels out of control. Conspiracy theories give you an easy answer to a complex problem. And then there's the endless distractions caused by all of this. Whilst we're all scrapping it out, politicians and their donors make enormous bank. So why are they doing it? Because political influence buys them something that money can't. Being untouchable by the law, immunity from scrutiny, big payouts from media moguls, unlimited power. You say one thing about rich propagandists, and that's the fact that they know their audience. Brexit drummed into us that we shouldn't believe experts, which is one of the most Orwellian things I think I've ever heard. But it works because, you know, they're knee-deep in conspiracy culture, the lot of them, which means that the journalists that come along, the real hard-working investigative journalists who report without fear and favour, won't be believed. Economic precarity breeds fear, resentment, a sense that someone must be to blame for it. Yeah, there are people to blame for it. They're the people that were in power for 14 years, and they're also the people that are now trying to tell you that they're not the elite. The very same people who want you to feel, not think critically. And anyone that's doing okay, that's not on the breadline, has the time to either disengage or, I don't know, engage fully and see that this is all a load of bollocks. Those on the breadline feels more urgent and personal. So when you've got the mainstream media, now broadcasters, the algorithms, all working together with foreign interference jobs masquerading as Patriot accounts, you get the illusion of mass consensus, a feedback loop, a radicalisation loop. That is not enormously different to the radicalisation techniques used by jihadis. It's just the hate preachers are a different religion and a different skin colour. Want the same outcome though. Women used as vessels. Farage has been touring the anti-abortion circuit in America, obviously, where he spends most of his time, with his best mate the nonce. So, when someone tells you that Reform are just saying what we're all thinking, maybe respond with Reform are telling you what to think. This isn't working class rebellion. Throwing rocks at Mosley, that's working class rebellion. Do you want to know who the original Antifa were? Our ancestors that died fighting the Nazis. And they didn't do that so a bunch of thick, violent, domestic abusing men experiencing an identity crisis, along with a fair few thick women to be fair, could do the salute in front of war memorials while in the same breath taking offence at being called racist. Do you want to know what Reform really is? It's a billionaire PR campaign. It's marketing. It's the same thing that makes you buy a McDonald's when their theme tune is literally a whistle. Racism isn't patriotism. Slapping a flag on everything is denial. There's been very little to be proud of in this country for some time, and you don't fix that by pretending it's not happening. And con artists like Reform are not the answer. Whether or not you fall for it, they're winning. Someone said to me the other day they're like lemmings waiting to jump off a cliff, the people that are falling for this nonsense. And I disagreed, because they're not just jumping off a cliff on their own. No, they're dragging the rest of us down with them because they can't see the obvious problem here, and they're not going to see it until it's way too late. Just look at Brexit, just look at Johnson. So don't fall for their scam. Get angry, get organised and start punching up, not punching down. Unless, of course, your secret kink is licking the boots of toffs. I think personally it's about time that the working classes of this country found their self-respect. Anyway, until next time, I'm off to have a nice big scream into a pillow. Don't have nightmares.